My mic sound nice.
Check one.
My mic sound nice.
Check two.
My mic sound nice.
Check three.
Are you
Ready? Hey yo, it's Renegade Culture. We in the motherfucking building. My name is Kalonji Changa, aka the Riot Starter, alongside my man
Kamau K. Franklin.
Kamau K. Franklin, not to be confused with his twin brother, Mr. Dr. Sean King.
Oh,
anyway,
already we started.
In the place to be for the first time. For the first time, ladies and gentlemen, we have Juan Valdez is here. He's in the building, aka the Ear Doctor.
The Ear Doctor.
If you check his poncho, this motherfucker is defying the laws of culture.
I know.
He has a poncho from Mexico, and he has a fucking hat from goddamn the south side of Jamaica, Queens, that is.
He got
you know what I'm saying?
Blood sneakers on.
He do got some throwing. Subaru went over there.
And his outfit matches his gum, so it's perfect.
Outfit definitely matches his gum. Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay. Sunny Yellow.
Yo, Sunny Yellow.
Yes. Alongside him, we got
the server, of course.
Okay.
Holding down Kalonji here, thank goodness, so I got to do double duty.
I like that. I can't even diss serve after saying that. Last week I had to get on you because y'all was trying to play the card. But this week you all right, brother. I ain't got no beef with you. We good?
We're good, brother.
All right,
That'll
man.
last for like another 25 seconds before we
Probably.
get back into some other beef.
Just about that.
Yo, so we had a good week. Everybody had a good week.
We had a very good week.
You know what I'm saying? And we got some new Patreon folks. Some
Definitely new. Hey, yo.
Patreons of the arts, you know what I'm saying?
Listen.
What up?
The Patreon supporters.
Yes.
We love them.
We do. That's our people, yo.
Because they're saying to us, they're saying, you know what?
Yes.
We appreciate your efforts. Now, don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of Patreon money.
No, I'm saying, not yet.
However, those of you who are supporting us, we are seriously grateful.
Yep.
Because of the fact that you're saying to us that we have something that you want to hear, that you want to see. So we're thankful for that.
And we're so thankful that for our $5 and above Patreon supporters, we want to give some shout outs as we promised, you know what I'm saying, as part of our tiers. So first shout out goes to my man Randolph Carr. He gave a $5 monthly Patreon sponsor, brother. We want to thank you.
Randolph Carr.
Mr. Carr is from Black Men Build, like an organization that's trying to sweep the nation, you know what I'm saying?
Wait, hold it. Before you say,
what up?
I don't think we should give the amount of the donations because of the fact that, they might be giving from their heart.
Oh, well, we don't give a fuck about that.
Okay.
If they get $5 or more, they get a shout out.
No, I'm just saying if they get 5 or 25
so don't do that part, you say.
We don't do all that. Thank you, Randolph Carr. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, brother.
We don't want to be like Umar Johnson. We know you gave $5.
Give more next time. All right, who else we got? Because we got a bunch of names to run through.
Who we got?
We got April Taylor.
April Taylor? Shout out to April Taylor.
And we got Danielle Puccio.
Danielle Puccio. Daniel
Thank
Puccio?
you, my man Puccio.
Yeah. Shout out to my man Daniel Puccio.
And I got a couple of more too.
Okay.
Our brother and somebody who often comes on the show, Brother Jared Ball.
Dr. Jared Ball coming through.
Supporting.
Light skin privilege, your twin.
Hey, light skin in the house, big.
Hey, yo, how they had, remember on TV they had In Living Color, and they had the two brothers and shit. You know what I'm saying? You had the one brother that was getting slapped around, the other brother with the briefcase. I'm not going to tell you which one Kamau was. But anyway, good looking out, Jared. Go ahead. Dr. Jared Ball.
That was a lot. He went through a lot for that.
I probably did.
And my brother from another mother from New York, I was the best man at his wedding. He was the best man at my wedding.
Is he still married?
Yes, we both still married.
Okay,
more than I can say for present company, including my
man,
Ronald Chala Edwards. He gave some dough.
I am married. Yeah. But anyway, what's his name? Ronald who?
Ronald Chala Edwards.
Ronald Chala Edwards. You keep looking at his name like you forgot the motherfucker.
Well, because I want because he got his married name up in there too. So I want to make sure I get everybody up in there.
So his name is Rollo Edwards?
Who you got, bro? Who you got?
Huh?
Is he related to T'Challa?
You mean like the Black Panther?
No, he related to Juan Valdez, like your fucking
even the
overcoat.
Mexicans are saying, can you take that shit off?
Please.
Please.
It ain't even Mexicans, it's Guatemala.
It's Native American.
Native American.
I'm talking about Afro-Native American look today.
Afro-Indigenous.
That's right.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to Rob Love,
Love.
Server's twin brother.
Afro-Indigenous.
Yes. With his
Who you got? Who you
Afro-Indigenous.
got, brother man?
Listen, shout out to Leah Boggs. Leah Boggs dropped some dough on us. Thank you very much, Leah Boggs. Always supporting our joint. And Kevin.
Kevin didn't give a last name.
Kevin, like, look, just in case you motherfuckers being followed by the feds, like Infact or Infuck, whatever them clowns' name is. What's your man name? Grandmaster?
Who?
Grandmaster J?
Grandmaster
Or
J.
you just got arrested. We'll talk about that in a minute. Shout out to Kevin. Whoever Kevin is, we thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So again, y'all can go to Renegade Crew, Renegade Culture.
Crew Renegade Culture.
If y'all want to donate.
Yes.
Y'all want to support.
On Patreon.
On Patreon.
Yes.
We got special clips up there, outtakes.
Yes.
We're going to soon have a mixtape up there. A lot of other shows that are archived. You can only find now on Patreon.
And
so come out with your support.
And we're going to do live Q&As because of the fact we want to talk to the people. We don't want to just have a situation where we coming up here talking and shit like we know everything, cracking jokes. Because I know some of y'all don't really like our jokes, but we don't even give a fuck whether you like our jokes or not. We're going to say what the fuck we want to say. This is Renegade Culture.
That's right.
And some of y'all hate our shit. Some of you watch the shit just to hate it.
What?
And some of you actually love our shit. But for the people that love to hate it, listen, we're going to keep giving you plenty of material.
Keep watching.
We're going to give you plenty of material.
What we got going on in there?
Exactly. So tonight we got a special brother in the house.
A special brother.
A special
Is
brother.
he okay?
He ain't no ordinary brother.
He's no ordinary brother.
You know
what type of brother is? We're in Atlanta.
He's a special brother.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Special like Ed?
Special like Ed.
Or education.
My brother Omowale Afrika.
Omowale Afrika, this brother right here. Listen.
Yeah, what's up?
Let me tell you motherfuckers something.
Uh-oh.
Renegade Culture.
Uh-huh.
Right? We've had people come from Alabama.
True.
Right now, I go on record saying that this is the first time, this is the furthest someone's come to be on Renegade Culture. This brother came all the way from Philadelphia, from the city of brotherly love.
Although I don't think it's confirmed that he came just for us.
It's very confirmed.
Okay, my bad. Fuck it.
Fuck you,
He came
talking.
only for us.
talking.
My bad. Okay.
Hey, listen, I don't want to be disrespectful, but whoever the fuck other show he gonna be on, they good, but they ain't fucking
Renegade Culture.
I'm sorry. And I know some of y'all might, you're friends, you're friendly and all that. Don't fuck with us, because you know what I'm saying, we still the dudes. So anyway.
True. So Brother Omowale, he's here to talk about a documentary. And to talk, we want to further this discussion around the Black Misleadership class.
Okay.
So that these liberals who are trying to lead our folks astray, we'll get into that.
Yes.
So when we come back, that's going to have that. And then our third segment, we're going to have a What the Fuck segment. And our musical guest is going to be...
What? And who's the musical guest?
Musical guest is going to be Tiffany Goode, jazz artist extraordinaire, Tiffany Goode.
Okay. The brother said Tiffany Goode. Yeah. And that was the shortest props that you gave any artist. Usually like, this person's been nominated for 87 Grammys and 36 BET Awards.
That's because it's just the intro. Then when it's time for her to really perform, that's what I can give her.
You're going to give it all you got. There you go, yo.
You're not Chief Longwind like you. Let's get it.
So on that note, save your reply. Renegade Culture, we'll be back, yo.
Girl, ooh, you look fine. I wanna do you. I get busy. You keep my body busy. Every time I get near you, I want to act like a grizzly bear. You got long hair. You play hard to get, but Africa does not care.
I'm the rap promoter. I start to motor. Talk from New York to South Dakota. Drink ginger ale or a root beer soda. Never get the girl with the I know I'm older.
Yes, Minister Service in the building. Shout out to Biz Marquis.
Biz Mark.
Nobody beats the Biz.
Nobody beats the Biz.
Yes.
He was in the hospital recently, right?
I think he still is. You should go check him out. See what's going on.
Go check him out. What do I look like? I'm not his cousin or some shit
Biz
like
used to fucking babysit for you.
Oh, yo.
Ladies and gentlemen, people don't know that Biz used to breastfeed Kamau. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? And Kamau is the reason he made that song, You got what I need.
Stretching this joke out just a little
Yeah,
bit.
but I was telling people because they don't know.
No,
Hip hop history.
How about that? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Wait a minute, but we were talking about this a little earlier in the show. Our man gave us a little.
All the cussing he's doing.
Yeah, all the cussing you're doing.
Oh yeah.
So you want to address that?
Colorful language, bro.
Why don't you address that?
Thank you, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
What white people do.
Oh.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, sisters, brothers, boys, girls, and others. We are. You know, in 2021, we are blessed to have, let me take my glasses off so I can tell you about this.
That's serious.
In 2021, we are blessed to have the opportunity to be on television and radio.
True.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the opportunity to be on what?
Radio
Television
and
and
TV.
television.
Okay, so this man said Relevision and television.
Television and radio. That's why he's on the back. That's why he's on. That's why he's on the occasional guest host.
He's
Tadio and Relevision.
Right.
The man said Relevation and Tadio. But anyway, so we're blessed to have that opportunity. So, my man Kamau, the ear doctor. Yes.
All the yellow dudes look alike, apparently.
All yellow dudes look alike, especially with yellow glasses and teeth.
Yep.
So, the man was saying, look, so much colorful language, we have to edit it. And as we're editing it for these broadcasts, it sounded like, welcome to Renegade Culture with beep, and then beep, and then beep, beep, beep. So he suggested that I slow down on cursing. So what I want you to do, because we want to listen to you, the listeners, the viewers, and we want to give you the opportunity to say whether or not I should slow down on the cursing and the colorful language, or should I go the fuck off? Because me being the riot starter I am,
Come on now.
it's necessary for me to go the fuck off. But I respect my brother, the ear doctor with his deaf ass. So, you know, he's sitting over there looking like Helen Keller's son. I respect him and I appreciate the fact that he's taking his time to edit what it is we need edited. So I want to give you all the opportunity to let us know. So comment either on YouTube
or SoundCloud,
or whatever, and we appreciate it.
Let us know if Kalonji curses too much.
Let us know if I curse too much. And if you say we do, or you say I do, we're a team. We're a team. If you say I do, then I'm going to slow down. But if you don't,
you're going to curse up a mother.
I'm going to say
storm.
Fuck, shit, damn. What else I'm going to say?
That's enough, B.
Okay.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Edit this shit too.
Yeah, edit this shit. You just said shit yourself.
Exactly.
Man. So anyway,
see?
So we got a serious show tonight. So I want to get
very serious
because we have a great guest on who came all the way from Philadelphia.
All the way from the city of brotherly love.
So we have brother Omowale Afrika, who is a Garveyite, grassroots institution builder, and over 15 years of student and community organizing experience. Omowale has served the local Philadelphia community in a variety of roles, including the former president of the Marcus Garvey UNIA, and is an anti-violence activist with the Men United for a Better Philadelphia. And then lastly, he currently serves as the vice Shinudi. Still got it? All right. Damn, I'm good tonight. Okay. For the Philadelphia chapter of Afrocentricity. That one I would fuck up.
No, you good.
International. That'd be something. And he oversees youth programming. Brother Omowale, we want to thank you for coming on, brother.
That was perfect. So, I'm going to hire you.
I usually am.
The man says he's going to hire you.
I'm going to bring you with me on the road. So
I like that. I was like,
break
it off a little bit.
So he'll be like an in-house Sean King.
Oh, God damn.
Cool.
That nigga ain't black. But anyway, so my brother Omowale is here to talk about several things that's happening in the larger black community. Okay. One of the most important things, though, is that he has a new documentary that's been released. It's called Un-American Dilemma, The Question of Black Loyalty in the 2020 Election.
Yeah.
So we want to ask, by starting off, actually to talk a little bit about what that documentary is about and what made you want to do it.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, appreciate the air doctor, brother Kamau, brother Kalonji, and my older brother over there. I already forgot your name, but
that's okay.
Way older.
He's very old. Don't worry about it.
Having me on the show today. And just really quick, so the documentary, The Un-American Dilemma, is a documentary that I came up because I wanted to essentially create a time capsule that would capture this moment in our political history. I felt as though going into the 2020 election, this is probably perhaps the most divided moment that we've seen in the history of Black America politically over the past 150 years. And when I look back over that long history, there have been moments where entries have been made that have meant something for the future. Right, so if we look back to 1964, when Malcolm X said the ballot of the bullet, it was in a political year during an election season. I wanted us to have something for our generation that could essentially, 20 years from now, somebody could look back to this moment and have something that would allow them to make sense of this entire moment. So the inspiration, it was drawn from the fact that I was listening to a broadcast from another brother from Philly who I would say, I had some respect for. And in the middle of the broadcast, he came out of his mouth and said that, any black person that isn't voting for Joe Biden, any black person that isn't voting for the Democrats is a race traitor, right? He said this on the radio, right? He said that we're cultural traitors if we didn't want to vote for Joe Biden, right? And just hearing that language and, the amount of division that I saw playing out in the election, it kind of like inspired me to want to do something. So right at that moment, I said, I know we need to historicize this moment because the challenge that we have in black society is oftentimes our politics are on a 4-year shot clock, right? So we can't see any further than 4 years ahead of us or 4 years behind us, right? So what I said is I want to, elongate the timeline that we look at, right? And have this conversation about, folks calling folks traitors and calling folks seditious. And the first thing that came to my mind was, Garvey was called a traitor. Du Bois was called a traitor. Paul Robeson was called a traitor, right? So I thought of this text, An American Dilemma, the Negro Question in Modern Democracy, right? So the title for the film is actually a play on this text. And then the second text that inspired it was Theodore Cornweeble's text, Investigate Everything, Federal Efforts to Compel Black Loyalty During World War I. So this notion of Black America's allegiance and Black folks within the United States being called un-American, I wanted to tease that out in a documentary. So I'll stop there and we can engage because there's more I definitely want to weigh in on.
So this brother, he came out his mouth, like you said, basically paraphrasing Joe Biden himself, because Joe Biden said on the Breakfast Club, if you ain't voting for me, then you're not black, right? So dude took that shit to the heart, right? You care to say his name because you know a Renegade Culture.
Yeah. The brother's name is Brother Michael Cord.
Michael Cord.
Michael Cord.
It's funny because he's over at Temple, right?
Well, I don't know if he's still at Temple. He's definitely at WURD. And when he said this on his broadcast, he says it with a picture of Malcolm X, like right over his shoulder. You know, and he calls himself a son of Nat Turner. And I'm like, man, you calling black people traitors for not voting? Like, then how do we get from there to this is almost like what's the brother's name who wrote the book Black Power from Stokely to Barack Obama? It's like how do you make
Joseph?
How do you go from Nat Turner to Joe Biden, like the two?
Well, isn't that the dilemma we do face, right? We got too many black folks who are using radical language, radical themes, radical pictures, radical history to justify us or trying to pigeonhole us into voting for liberal Democrats as if that's the ultimate in terms of obtaining freedom for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I refer to that as slave catching activity. So I think what happens is as the black masses kind of gets riled up and starts to move away from the Democratic Party and reform politics, the black elite or those who've been put in front of us as leadership, they start to try to change their language to get back in front of where the masses are going. So they try to speak a bit more radically, right, to get that leadership back. And the goal is, okay, once I have your attention, is to point you back to the plantation. So yeah, I refer to that as slave catching. That
particular brother is, I know he was a professor of hip hop over at Temple at one point. We visited his class maybe about 16 years ago. It's funny because of the fact that I really can't say that I'm surprised at different individuals when it comes to their choice of politics. Because of the fact that many of our people operate off of a narrow nationalism type program. And this is one of those important moments where we have to show the contradictions between culture and politics. You understand what I'm saying? Because of the fact that just because you're cultural don't mean that you're politically astute. You know what I'm saying? A lot of folks get caught up in the whole cultural nationalism thing, but they get lost, and then we're sitting there like, did this motherfucker just say that? Your film, you saying that, okay, that was one of the things that inspired the whole play on words. How has it been received? I know that 2020 had been a very busy year for you. I know you had the whole RBG 100 Centennial thing, which Kamau and I, amongst many others, participated in. It was a phenomenal event. One of the best events that I participated in this year. And then you follow it up with this film. How's it been received amongst your peers?
It's been, so from my peers, everyone who's checked it out so far, has had nothing but very high praise, for the production. And it's funny, right? So when we created this project, we knew that it would serve as a piece of propaganda, right? We had in our mind that this would be something that could serve as an organizing tool, right, for political education. But we were under no false pretense that this project would be able to compete with $14 billion, in spending that was, spent to capture the minds of our people.
Right.
But one of the things that we were absolutely certain about is that using this project, we could start a conversation to help people reach some astute political conclusions that we had in mind from the very beginning, right? So for one, we wanted to highlight the crisis that's playing out in Black America that no political candidate is speaking about. The first being the forced migration that's happening in our communities, meaning our people are being dispossessed of their homes, being pushed out. We have this housing and homelessness crisis that's playing out all across Black America. And the second being the economic devastation, right? We wanted to drum that up because nobody was speaking to that as it's playing out in our community right now. I think that there's a reason why reparations has, reached a fever pitch right now in this moment, because so many people who have not been politically dialed in have attached themselves to that particular idea because of the suffering they see playing out in our community. And they realize that only some type of mass-based transformation or redistribution can alleviate the things that are happening in our community, right? So that was the first, part of it. The second thing is I wanted people to see this system as illegitimate, right? I wanted them to feel that they were right in their desire not to vote or not to participate in this election. Because I think in order for you to be politically educated, the first conclusion that you have to reach is that the system that we, operate within is illegitimate. Because once you reach that conclusion, then it opens you up so that you can organize for true transformation, and you understand that that transformation will never come via a vote or any of these, reform type politics that the black elite is pushing on us, right? And then the third thing that we wanted to do with the documentary is speak to this division playing out between the black masses and the black elite. You heard, Barack Obama, say, hey, if you could die a little bit quieter, we wouldn't lose as many votes. You understand what I'm saying? So like this notion that, the black elite sees themselves as vested in this American redemption project, right? And they are using kind of like the blood and political energy of our people to further this project, but it's coming at the expense of our people. So I wanted to create a project that would give our people a tool, some political defense. So when someone comes to them and says, why aren't you voting, or why are you talking about not voting? They can have a set of tools that they can point to and say, these are the reasons why I'm not voting. But not only am I not voting, it doesn't mean that I'm sitting on my hands. This is what I'm doing instead of not voting.
We're going to come back to you. We're sitting here with Omowale Afrika, who's visiting us from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, for all you bubbleheads that don't know. He is a filmmaker now, and he has the new documentary, Un-American Dilemma. And it's a powerful piece. We're talking to him. We're going to chat about a number of different things. When we come back, I want to ask you about a recent interview that I saw with Tamika Mallory and TMZ in regards to sexism and racism. We'll be back. Renegade Culture. Don't get it fucked up.
I just want to dance with you. Come on, I just want to dance with you. Come on. I just want to hold you close. Come on. Take you in my arms. Come on.
To all the girls I loved before.
I like that. You stretching the horizons, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We had to go, you know what I'm saying? Because, last week we had my man Lou Rawls over here.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
You'll never find.
And make sure you'll never find.
True that, true.
You sing about Naka shirt, another shirt like mine. We're good.
Yo, so yeah, we back with brother Omowale Afrika with us.
Yes, Omowale straight out of Africa.
Straight out of Africa, brother.
Yes.
What made you choose the name Omowale Afrika?
That's a hard name, man. What's your real name? Otis or some shit?
Omowale, so I was going by my real name when I was over at the UNIA, but I told you I left due to some internal turmoil. So that was a real big pivotal moment.
It wasn't Shoemaker, was it?
What was that? No, I wasn't.
Brother, let's keep on going.
Your main Shoemaker.
But no, long story short, Omowale is the name that was given to Malcolm X when he visited the Nigerian Student Society during one of his pilgrimages to the continent. So in reading that and what it meant, the child who had returned home, like that meant something to me in reading it. So I adopted the name Omowale. And then in Africa, Dr. John Henry Clark says that names should title land. You know what I mean? As a nationalist, a revolutionary nationalist, for me, like Africa, a Garveyite, Africa means the world to me, period. So like that's why I adopted the last name Afrika, so Omowale Afrika.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. It's real, touching story and shit. You didn't even crack a joke on that shit. Right? You talk shit about Africa or Malcolm, nigga.
There's a tear.
Yeah.
So you talk about Sister Tamara before we left?
Tamika.
Whatever her name is, whatever. What's the story, B?
Oh.
Tamika Mallory. What's the story?
Either Tamara. But anyway, you talking about Braxton? Yeah. So I was watching, don't ask me how I saw a fucking clip of TMZ. Because you see a clip of TMZ, it's like you ain't doing shit. at all. And you just happen to catch that shit because somebody posted that dumb shit. And I saw Tamika Mallory, and shout out to Tamika Mallory because of the fact that she has been out there working.
She has been.
Okay. Now, I saw something that she was talking about the whole issue of sexism in America. Sexism and racism, and talking about how sexism is worse than racism in America. Now that shit right there kind of bothered me because of the fact that 55% of white women here in America voted for a motherfucker that said grab them by the, you know what I'm saying? You like how I
You cut that off. There you go.
Yeah.
Check.
So you voted for a cat that 55% of white women. But then at the same time, we talk about sexism. So I think if we're going to talk about sexism, and sexism is serious in America, but to compare sexism and racism, that's kind of a push. You understand what I'm saying? Because of the fact that there are different issues that we fight for, men and women. You know what I'm saying? So racism, sexism is a byproduct of racism, the way we see it. It's like global white supremacy. We take on the role of the oppressor, and we mimic them. You know what I'm saying? Those who practice sexism, the patriarchy and all that type of stuff. It is a direct link from white supremacy, white male privilege, so on and so forth. So I wanted to know your take on that. What did you think about it? Because I see that oftentimes I see you going at folks like My Son and some of these other folks. And I think My Son dissed you in one of his songs. But go ahead, though. Let me tell you this.
So first of all, let me clarify. I definitely don't go at like anybody.
Okay, all right. Let's straighten it out now.
I have put.
Don't do like Kamau with Killer Mike and shit. No, I like your sweatshirt. Don't do that.
So here's the thing, right? One of the things that I state, and this is a lesson that I learned from my brother Obi Egbona Jr. That
shout out to Obi.
Our generation suffers from acute spectrum deprivation, and what that essentially means is that the spectrum of Black political thought, most people in our generation have only been exposed to kind of like integrationist thinking, right? So I put our brother, my son, and sister Tamika, I put them in that particular bucket. And that being said, the reason why I said like I'm not coming at them because I think that we should kind of like learn from the lessons of the past, right? Malcolm spent a significant amount of time, going at King and calling King like handkerchief head and things like that. But the reality is, we have to temper our critique by the fact that those brothers and sisters are out there doing what they think is right, even if you don't necessarily agree with it. So I just wanted to push back on that just a little bit. But in terms of the sister's statement, I would just echo the sentiments of the brother Neely Fuller Jr., where he says that if you don't understand racism, white supremacy, everything that you think you understand will only confuse you, right? So I don't necessarily fault Tamika for saying that because she's a product of her training, right? When you understand, how they say like the fruit, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
And she comes out of Al Sharpton's
She comes out of the National Action Network. Al Sharpton comes out of Jesse Jackson's Operation Breadbasket. Jesse Jackson comes out of King's SELC. So it's a long, linear progression of civil rights thinking, right? So the statement that she made is a common statement in civil rights circles because they believe that we've made progress on racism, right, in this country, whereas though we still have a lot more work to do on sexism. This is their thinking, right? So the notion is, you'll hear young people in the movement today say, none of us are free until all of us are free. And inherent in that statement, it's the belief that Black men somehow attained their freedom with the redress that was provided via the civil rights movement, but Black women and other Black people who are not Black men did not receive any redress. So they make this argument that we still have work to do. So they're saying that, okay, we've chipped away at racism a bit, but sexism is still the thing. But for me, that's kind of like, it's wrong-headed thinking, but it's thinking that's indicative of the civil rights movement. And I would say my brother, my son and sister Tamika represent probably of this generation, kind of like the voice of the modern day civil rights movement. The challenge that we have though is that during the civil rights time, you had both voices. Like the nationalist voice was out there in prevalence via Malcolm. There is no one speaking, at least that has an audience, right, that is speaking from that perspective today. So as a result, most people are only hearing the perspectives of folks like, sisters.
Well, I think you also have they get to push for more mainstream media. I mean, the only thing I want to add is, because I want to be careful around the issue of talking about sexism as it only relates to white supremacy, because I think sexism is something that even in African societies or Asian societies is something that still will have to be dealt with, right? I think there is issues of even within our community of women suffering from, let's say, intercommunity violence and sexism and so forth. So I think that's the real deal, Holyfield, and that's something that has to be combated. I think similarly, though, I think when we start sort of situating black men, particularly so-called straight black men, as the equivalent to white male oppressors, then we've taken the commentary of basically white women liberals and the liberal establishment and made that our struggle as opposed to our joint struggle of all our people around the liberation of our folks.
I'm glad you pointed it out because of the fact that, for clarity, by no means are we condoning any issues towards women. In fact, if we had it our way, this would be a matriarchal society because of the fact that we know that for the most part, it'd be less ego. But if it would be matriarchal, in my opinion, it'd have to be black-led. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not matriarchal for white women and all that shit because you got folks like Gloria Steinem and all these folks whose primary goal was to disrupt and confuse our movement as a whole. So shout out to all the sisters out there from all these different fronts who are putting in that serious work. And I respect that. So, I want to clarify that because I don't want, because some of you goofy motherfuckers are junkies. They said such and such. No, get the hell out of here. That's not what we said.
But we want to get to another important thing that happened this week because Obama, everyone's favorite black and only black president, came out. He just has a new book that came out called A Promised Land.
Yes.
And from that book, he did some interviews, and part of the interviews, he kind of went to work on the slogan, defund the police.
Right.
And so even though, I think defund the police is a good idea, but for me, it's not some revolutionary idea. People are just talking about taking funding from the police and putting it into social services. Nothing really all that radical about that to me.
Right.
But it's used to control sort of the radical organizing and aspects. And again, for this liberal class of folks, to capture, like you said, black movement, and to capture black people and keep them in the Democratic Party and saying that anything outside the framework of sort of a moderate step-by-step change that they so-called promise us is too radical for us to even deal with. And so therefore it's silly, shouldn't be thought about, shouldn't be concerned. So basically it's saying you take any thought that's around self-determination, nationalism, and all that stuff is crazy.
Right.
And all the moderate stuff, the John Lewis's, the Martin Luther King Jr.'s, that's particularly Dr. King in 63, 64, that's the ideas that we should be rolling with.
Right.
So I want to get your thought and your thinking on what do you think an Obama type figure is, what's his reason for being in terms of the black community? What should we think about on Obama?
His reason for being?
Yeah.
Obama is a corporate creation. He was a faux populist candidate, right? They needed to foment some type of notion of populism with his candidacy, but it wasn't his policies that were popular. It was him, his identity, right? The idea of getting a black man into the White House, right? So if you go back to 1996, Dr. Adolph Reed writes an article in the Village Voice where he's warning us about Barack Obama. He's talking about this new breed of foundation, puppets that are being created to essentially mislead the black masses and do away with the black movement, right? So that article, I always point back to that. Another place we can point back to is 2006, right? When Obama is on the campaign trail and he's stomping for Senator Bernie Sanders. If you listen to Obama when he's in Vermont, speaking for Bernie Sanders, he sounds like a white Republican. He sounds no different.
You mean Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, he sounds like Hillary Clinton. No.
Obama didn't stomp for.
He stomped for Bernie Sanders in 2006.
No, he didn't. For president or for senator?
No, for senator.
Oh, okay. Just for clarity, let's make that clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he stomped for Senator Bernie Sanders in 2006, but also in 2006, and this is very important. I think your audience should go and research this. Barack Obama was invited by Bob Rubin, who was Clinton's Secretary of Treasury. They did a project called the Hamilton Project in 2006. It was essentially a project to ward off populism that they saw coming down the road. They said that the wealth gap in this country is getting too wide, and as a result, we're going to start to see lots more populist movements arising. Obama was there to kind of ward off the populism. Right, so when we see him last year saying that the Democratic Party is being pulled too far to the left, or that certain language is alienating the racist base of the Democratic Party, he's just revealing who he is. Like he's corporate owned, he's a corporate entity, he's a product, he's a brand, but he does not represent liberation. He does not represent freedom. He represents the absolute opposite for Black people. And I'm just happy that the more and more that he speaks, the more Black people are starting to realize that he's an enemy of our freedom. So I think that's important.
It's important.
Yeah, it's ill that we're still having this conversation. It's the same shit, same stuff we talked about 12 years ago when it came to Barack, and it's the same formula that's being used with Kamala Harris right now. One of the things that Joe Biden has done is he came with this whole slick move by throwing in this whole group of women under his cabinet. So therefore, when we're launching an offensive, the instant thing that's going to come out of folks who are apolitical and who don't have a clear analysis that we're against women. You know what I'm saying? That's the buffer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't even attack this dude because of the fact that he has this wall of defense here. That unfortunately, our sisters once again are getting played. They're getting played because of the fact that many of them would jump up and down and claim the same thing, because I've seen people when we criticize Kamala, they're like, oh man, because she's a Black woman. Look, I don't give a damn if she's a black bullfrog. You know what I'm saying? If she hopping her ass on the wrong side of history, then she has to be dealt with. We don't give no, when I'm out of order, I get checked, and that's the business. It's not no, well, he's Kalonji, you can't say anything to him. Nobody care about that. That's nonsense. So, the thing is, we have to be able to deal with the whole criticism, self-criticism.
Representation politics has taken over from actual politics.
Right.
And so we're going to come back and talk a little bit more with Brother Omowale Afrika. We're going to have a What the segment when we come back, Renegade Culture.
Hold up, are we having a What the fuck segment if I can't curse?
We're going to say What the segment when we come back, Renegade Culture.
It's spring again.
Oh.
Everybody knows it's spring again. Shout out to Biz.
There you go, man. The diversity of it.
You know what I mean? That's over there looking like.
You know what also it is? It's time for. You know what else it's time for?
What?
The R, the E, the N, the E, the G, the A, the D, the E. It's Renegade.
Word up.
Renegade Culture.
Word up.
Omowale, I didn't hear you singing, brother. That was our theme song.
First time hearing it.
Oh, man.
Cat right here, man.
You better be listening.
He's slipping, Tony. He's slipping. Word up. Word up. He's slipping.
Dare you? What's wrong with you?
Hey, yo, I'm still number one.
So, we gonna wrap up our third segment with a What the segment. So we got some different things happening on. I think basically it's anybody else can curse but you, B. So
wait, but before we go to What the fuck,
no, that's not.
Are they still counting Trump's ballots and shit? Or?
Nah.
No, I don't. Well, I mean, he's still got some lawsuits. All the states are certified. He's still got some lawsuits that are mostly being dismissed. I think even he's come to the realization that he's out, and what he's doing now is plotting for 2024.
Well, somebody called Shelley Winters and tell him he can stop counting now.
Oh, goddamn, no. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing, this is kind of a weird segment, weird start of it. Normally it was like, these kind of things happen, but I think this one is particularly ridiculous, but it spread like crazy over social media. So a brother in Texas has a restaurant, and apparently it's not a dance hall, it is a restaurant. Folks are sitting, eating, and apparently some music comes on, and some folks decide to get up, some sisters decide to get up and start twerking. Yep. Then my man comes over and reads them the rules and goes deep into how they are making themselves look bad, they ain't got no home training and all that kind of stuff. So my thing is to twerk or not to twerk. That is the question. You know what I mean?
The ill thing about it, I just saw something on the way yesterday. I just saw something where he was talking about where he has a partner, and the partner is saying that he's no longer affiliated with the restaurant, and they're between some type of litigation and lawsuits and all types of other things. So it's a bit wild. My whole thing about that piece right there, okay, you own the restaurant, you went in, you said what you said, and you told them they don't like it, that they can get the out. So they're twerking, and you saying that they can get the fuck out. And I saw all types of different people having comments around that. My position on that shit is, who gives a damn?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, on the real, it's like so much stuff going on, and we worried about some stanking broads.
Oh my.
And his monkey ass talking about some damn twerking. And this went viral. I mean, not the community work that's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nothing about Mumia on death row. Nothing about Russell Schultz with COVID. But you talking about somebody shaking their ass in a restaurant.
And everybody's got an opinion about it.
Everybody got something to say. And listen, I've read a lot of y'all stuff and I've seen a lot of your comments and all that. I mean, listen, us, the people, we got to ignore some of this goofy shit. We got to say, you know what? Let's put out our own information. This right here is not newsworthy. You just made a whole bunch of unnecessary people popular for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I saw the sisters twerking. I mean, they shouldn't want to be on camera. That's just my opinion. It's my
They weren't
opinion.
that good at it. So, so other stuff that's happening in the news, we got brother Casanova is facing possibly a life sentence.
I wouldn't necessarily call him brother, but you got Casanova.
Oh, my
First
bad.
of all,
He's not a brother?
Yeah, he's a brother.
Oh.
He's a brother.
Malcolm said you don't call a man
Every
brother.
brother
You
ain't a
operate
brother.
as Anyway.
He's a black man.
He's a black man?
Yeah.
Wait
Who
a
knows
minute.
what the charges are? What's the charges against this dude?
Isn't it some gang affiliation
Yeah.
or something?
Oh, okay.
Pretty much the
Rico,
Bobby
Rico,
Shmurda type
Rico?
thing.
Okay.
Okay, listen, brothers and sisters.
Uh-oh.
Rico Act 2020, come on, man. Come on, son.
Yeah.
I can see if you doing some real shit, but you just run around trying to be tough guy, and you run around calling yourself Casanova. First of all,
Yeah, why you... You're mixing up your brands, you know what I'm saying?
You know, he like to be fair to the brother. Like I think that he really did attempt like to put like all of the street stuff. He didn't bring the street stuff into the industry with him.
Okay.
I think that this situation probably has more to do with that Tekashi 6ix9ine putting cases.
So Tekashi snitching on everybody.
Yeah, because
Everybody get pulled up.
you recall like during when Tekashi was creating conflict with the whole industry, he was one of the brothers that he tried to, you know, trick out of his position, and the brother was like, I'm not gonna go through that with you. So
Okay.
I think the brother was attempting just to like, listen, my past life was this. I'm not trying to be about that life at all. So I don't think that he mixed the two.
So they want him to start snitching like Skittlehead.
They basically trying to, it looked like they just trying to give him like an all-in situation, like at some point in your past, over the past 14 years, you was involved with whatever you was involved with. But while he was in the music industry, he wasn't involved with that. But I think that, you know how the government is, they put cases on our people. So,
Yeah.
But I would argue that it's probably, Tekashi 6ix9ine probably put cases on half the industry.
Is he still alive, Tekashi 6ix9ine?
I mean, he's heavily, you know, guarded by the federal government. He's walking around with agents.
all right.
So
He was just in the club throwing money.
So he like Karanga, huh?
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait. I see a disagreement.
Happy Kwanzaa. Go ahead.
Oh, wow.
Yo, so somebody needs to jump up on this. So there's the brother who has the gun club. You was talking about this earlier. Grandmaster.
Listen.
What's it? Grandmaster who? Jay?
Listen.
What happened
My
with
brothers
this
here at
dude?
Renegade Culture call everybody brother. I don't understand that.
Oh, my bad.
However,
Yes.
the goofy gentleman from the NFAC, the name of their crew is the what? Not effing around crew.
fucking around.
Now, I mean, first and foremost, I don't know who taking you serious when you saying that your crew is called the Not Effing Around Crew.
Exactly.
When in fact, when I first heard that, my initial response was, y'all fucking with me. But they said they wouldn't. So I listened to them. So dude, apparently in Louisville, some feds and police officers claimed that they were on top of a roof, and they came to look over the roof to look down at some gentlemen with some guns, some high-powered weapons, and that somebody had a flashlight on a gun pointed up at him on a rifle. And it happened to be this guy. Everybody identified him, okay? Now, first and foremost, this just me. I am pro Second Amendment. Whether they wrote that shit or not, I'm pro, okay? Let the record reflect. I'm not walking around showing anybody my weapons. Why? Because if you ain't my comrade, then you don't need to see it. And if you do see it, then you nobody should know anything about you saw it after that. Okay? So I think that right there is a move by the feds to shake the shit off of him for people to believe that, oh, see, he's not a Fed.
Yeah.
What these folks did, and this is just my opinion, they realized that the new Black Panther Party clownship scholarship was up. And then nobody was taking them clowns serious. So in 2020, they needed some brand new clowns to come about. And who better than a fake ass DJ who was talking about all lives matter and doing security for Trump? You know what I'm saying? This cat called himself Grandmaster J. The only time we ever seen him DJing was on an invisible turntable set.
Pretty much.
I mean, seriously. I mean, the fact that
Jeff's routine.
Yeah, the ill thing about it, the fact that we at Renegade Culture, I'm a storyboard kind of Renegade Culture, because we talk about some BS news these days. That shit right there. Like,
you brought this dude up. What you talking about?
I didn't mean for us to talk about him.
Oh, man,
but anyway.
Crazy. So, you know, I mean, the thing I think about is, I mean, whether or not I think he's a clown or not, I do think this sort of brings out the power of the state still.
Yes.
Right? The power of the state to harass folks, to actually, again, even though I don't think this guy's maybe a serious movement people, there were a lot of folks who followed this dude to Stone Mountain and some other places.
There's a lot of folks that follow Jim Jones.
Well, that's not the point. The point is whether or not they should be following or not. They were following him, and so I think that means that could make him a target. And so whether or not I think he's a true leader of our people, it still doesn't mean I think the feds have a right to set him up, because once they set him up and they deal with his ass, they're going to set somebody else up who's closer, who's your movement, and deal with them.
They'll probably use them to do that.
Yeah,
Good.
We also have to be careful because we know how the state plays. We know that the white militia is just an extension of the state. So by default, right, there are two militia groups out there, right? The white militia group, no charges filed against them for anything. So you're endorsing the white militia, and then the so-called black militia is now being criminalized. So whether or not I don't necessarily agree with the brother for NFAC, but if it wasn't him, right, if this was just a blank black figure, right, regardless of the speculation, I think that we have to keep in mind that the state is essentially criminalizing, which they always would, the idea of black.
I respect what both of you are saying. Did you all see the video where he is doing security for Trump at a Trump rally?
Yeah.
Okay, so all that other shit, I don't know. I'm just trying, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about here?
Say less.
Okay, I just want to make sure y'all saw what I saw.
Say less, yeah.
So what y'all theories and speculations, and that was great.
No.
But this motherfucker's trying to make America great again.
I'm just putting on face value as say he's a clown. Just accept him at face value as a clown. I'm just saying the militia piece, the state, you know how they operate.
So we're going to jump and say, Brother Omowale Afrika, we want to thank you for coming out and joining us.
Yes, sir.
For talking about the good work that you do. Again, the documentary is called Un-American Dilemma, The Question of Black Loyalty in the 2020 Election. And where can folks see the documentary at?
Folks can go to vimeo.com//on-demand/un-American.
And if folks want to follow you or see you, where can they follow you
Follow
at?
me on Twitter. I'm not going to be talking about Twitter. I'm not going to be follow me on Twitter. I'm not going to be talking about twerking and nonsense like that.
Of course, you said. Follow me on Twitter. I'm not going to be talking about Twitter.
You're
going to be talking about Pornhub?
Definitely, we need to be supporting Russell Maroon Schultz. As you stated, the brother does have COVID-19 and stage 4 cancer, and he's in Pennsylvania State Prison. There's a movement right now to get the brother out on compassionate release. So if you hear this, let's do something to get together, to get organized, to get that man free.
I want to say too, because we mentioned Russell Maroon Schultz, and many of us don't know why they call him Maroon. Okay, part of the reason his name is Maroon is because of the fact that he escaped prison 2 or 3 times. I believe 3 times. So definitely he's a real strong brother. Right. You know what I'm saying? And we have to really begin to research and really get into who our political prisoners are, who our freedom fighters are, because it's very important. One thing that Minister Server does that is getting a lot of traction these days is he talks about hip hopstery. In the month of February, we're going to do a Black History version. We're going to be talking about revolutionary heroes. So Server's getting that thing ready, for February.
So stay up. We thank y'all for coming out for the show, Renegade Culture.
Yes, support us on Patreon.
Milk is chillin', Kiss is chillin'.
Yeah.
What more can I say?
Top billing.
That's what we get.
You got it good.
And since you understood, would you
Yeah.
Clap your hands, you clap. If your girl's out of place, it's your girl out. Me too movement.
Me too.
Yeah, Tiff got the dance down pack. I stole your girl while you was in prison, jail, for MC assault. Had a flashback. Okay.
Yo, so we back with our special guest, our
yes.
special musical guest, you know what I'm saying? We're going to have Minister Server do an intro. Who do we have with us, Minister Server?
Hey, listen, we have a phenomenal artist, Tiffany Goode.
Okay.
She is a jazz trumpeter. You know what I'm saying? And she's one of the ones that's on the cutting edge. She released a project called A Good Day. It's been number one on Bandcamp for like 27 weeks, something like that. And phenomenal. You know, again, when you see her perform, you know that she's been touched. Especially, she's here from Atlanta. She's my sister, Tiffany Goode.
Okay. Shout out to the Good family. Good family been doing good things around here.
Big up to the Good family. Big up to John Goode.
Yes.
Brother. Big up to Josh, too, doing this thing.
Okay.
Tiffany, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
So, man, they've been telling us that, you know, your trumpet has been bringing down the walls of Jericho around this mountain. What got you into the whole, you know, because I was in band myself. A lot of folks don't know that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, then.
I was world renowned with my flute and my drums and my guitar. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't go too far.
Yeah.
I mean, what got you into the trumpet, and who were some of the people that inspired you?
Influences.
Well, I started playing trumpet in 3rd grade, and I actually started because my dad brought it home one day. He would frequent the local little liquor store down the street where, you know, if you know about local liquor stores, you do a lot of bartering. So it was nothing for my dad to come home with some steaks, some TV, you know. This particular day, he came home with a trumpet. And he was like, hey, who wants to play this trumpet? And I was like, I want to play it. And my brother, if y'all know, my brother's John Goode. My brother was like, he didn't want no piece of it anyway. So I ended up playing the trumpet. It was this real dilapidated trumpet with a cornet mouthpiece. It was a horrible trumpet. I don't know if I ever actually played that trumpet because I don't know if it was playable. But they put it in a brown paper bag one morning. This was the first day of school. I walked to school with it, and my love for trumpet began. I always say trumpet chose me. I didn't choose trumpet. It came into my house.
Okay, so you was like the Satchmo of the family.
Huh?
I said you was like Satchmo. You was walking around playing your joint, getting down with it.
With my trumpet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like what Server talking about, you know, he said that you've been #1 in the Bandcamp charts for 187 weeks.
Killing them.
I mean, where can folks find your project aside from Bandcamp? Because we know that, you know.
Yeah, so it's definitely on Bandcamp. It's been 33 weeks. It's been the #1 modern jazz album. It fluctuates for the #1 in Atlanta. It fluctuates between the #1 album, jazz album period in Atlanta, and the #1 fusion jazz album between #1 and #2. It fluctuates, so I have to look and see which one it is today. Is it 1 or 2? But you also can find it anywhere. You can find it on iTunes, Amazon. I mean, it's even on Napster. I was like, look at that. Napster still exists. Wow. I didn't know. But you can find it anywhere.
I was going to say, I think you and Professor Griff the only people I know that got something on Napster right now. But that's dope.
I didn't know. Like, okay.
So what you going to play for us tonight? You going to play a song for us tonight? You know what you're going to play?
Say it again?
Oh, I said you're going to play a song for us tonight. Do you know what you're going to play?
Yeah, I'm going to play the first single off of the album. This was the, I actually released the album during the whole quarantine. I released the album, totally just kind of walked through this whole little fear thing I had about releasing it, and look at God. So the first single that I released from it before I released the full project was called Forward Movement. It's inspired by Miles Davis, song All Blues, and the cyclical nature of the whole song made me say, hey, you know what, I want to do something like that. So that's the song I'm going to do for you guys.
It's dope.
All right.
Get my horn.
Want to hear? Here you go.
Tiffany Goode,
Want
y'all.
to hear? Here you go.
All right. Hey, while you're doing that, could you say, this is Tiffany Goode and I rock with Renegade Culture?
sorry.
Can you say, this is Tiffany Goode and I rock with Renegade Culture?
Yeah, this is Tiffany Goode and I'm rapping with Renegade Culture.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
All right, we ready.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Bringing some real culture up to Renegade Culture. We need that. Word up.
We appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. We really appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Y'all have a great evening.
Yes, tell the people how they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Life's Good, good with the E on the end, LIFESGOODE. Same for Twitter. If you're on Facebook, if you're of my age and you're on Facebook, then you can find me at Tiffany Goode. And you can find me, my website is goodstuff, GOODE stuff.net. And so if you go on Good Stuff, you can find out all about me. You can see where I'm playing next, all those types of things.
Cool. We're definitely going to invite you back on. Hopefully, once the whole pandemic, gets down or whatever, and you're not afraid to be around Minister Server and Naka, then we'll certainly invite you back over here.
Right.
In the.
Thank you. I'd be honored to come back. I'm gonna have a new project by then, so I'd be honored to.
Sounds good.
So
much success to you, sis.
Appreciate you, sis. Appreciate you.
Boom.
Yes, be
That's
safe.
it for tonight, y'all. Renegade Culture, we out.
Yes.
Yeah.